This conference will now be recorded.
Good morning, class. So today we'll be discussing few more topics which are important, and I have already discussed shell programming. What is a shell scripting? What do you mean by a shell scripting? How to write your shell scripting? It is nothing but a set of procedures, a set of program, you can say, with a program with having a set of commands. So when you write a shell script, it has everything about the shell is maintained in your folder, that is your root, bin, and sh folder. Now, different kinds of shells already present in your programming language. We have discussed so far. We have discussed the variables in the shells, like system variables, user-defined variables, then local variables used by in your programming variables. All system variables can be of your environmental variable or it can be of shell variables. Fine. So Linux shell can be controlled by few folders like etc shell maintains the etc password will maintain the credentials for the shell. Similarly, login, logout, exec, control D maintain the shell to another. You can go for this command ch sh to change the shell. Similarly, we have discussed various features. It works with your if, else, and end if. If you're using if, then fi is a closure, like this one simple program. Fine. Do while loops. We have discussed. These are the all things equal to, less than, equal to, greater than. These are the all numerical comparisons we have discussed in shell. Basics, programs of base, how to write a basic script. We have discussed how to write a do while programs to print anything on a screen. Echo is there. To do any mathematical calculation, we have to use XPR. This is a variable. This is my variable, and to fetch the value, we have to use $A. Fine. To fetch the value of A, we have to use the dollar sign. XPR for mathematical, echo for printing, and do while. These are the numerical expressions: less than, greater than, not equal to. This we have discussed. Then the loops we have discussed. Commands to compare two strings. These are the operators like equal to, not equal to, greater than, less than. It will check the sky value between the two strings, whether both strings are equal or not, basis of their sky values. The basic commands we have discussed so far. PWT for your working directory, listing. Similarly, I have already told you to check the properties of the files. You can use LL. LL command is also used for properties of files and directories. LS is also used to check the content of the directory. LS-A is used for headers. I for checking the inode numbers. If you want to check the inode of each file or each directory, then ls-I. And similarly, to create a file, you can use a touch command. Touch, and you can create the multiple files. Like for example, one is Red Hat. Fine. So you create a multiple files in a one go by using touch command. You can create the. Similarly, you can use cat. This cat and this operator is used for creation of file. You want to create a file. For example, I want to create a file Linux. Fine. One is a cat. If you are not using this, that means you are checking the content of the file. If you are using this greater than operator, that means you are creating a file with the data. For example, I write cat, this operator and Linux. I write the content here. I press Control plus D to save the file and quit the file. And then I write only cat Linux. So it will be showing me the content of the file. If I'm using the cat without any operator, I'm checking the content of the file. If I'm using this greater than operator, that means I am creating a file as well as I'm feeding the data into the file. And Control plus D is to save and quit the file. Similarly, to append, for example, file is already there and you want to append the data, then you have to use this operator to append the data. Same, Control plus D, move out, save and quit of the file. Similarly, to create a multiple file, I told you that is the touch command. For making directory, mkr, listing. Similarly, to enter into a directory, cd, and for checking. So these are the other basic commands. We have discussed this one for sorting of files, grepping, to check the base, to get the file name from the path string. That is a file name. To extract from the path is called a base name. Then directory name from the path string. Cut, to cut the some section of the file. Testing or prediction or condition process, just like a testing anything, a test condition. Similarly, transforming, tr command, transforming this alphabet to this alphabet. So transforming your characters like higher, upper alphabets, this smaller alphabets to uppercase and uppers to smaller. Then XPR is to solve your simple arithmetic processes. Evaluation, to evaluate any variable. Date, head and tail, to access few lines of the commands. Then the basic commands we already discussed: cd dot dot to move to parent directory, tilde, copy command, logout command, and the password. So password has a PASSWD. So to change the password, this is a command. To log out is a exit command, is also for exiting the file, and log out is also copying. And these are the basic commands. Now every folder has a set of commands. Like for example, bin folder is there. So this is a list. Var folder, like for example, this device folder. So every has a set of commands, has a set of folders. Like for example, bin has a ls command, ln command for your hard link and soft link, kill, hostname, zipping, echo, date. So all basic commands are basically in your bin folder. Similarly, etc folder has these various commands like networks, password, profile, security, services, shells. Similarly, secure or specialized bins has to check your disk space for halting, for IP config, for reboot, for routing. So every folder has a set of basic commands or standardly defined commands. And these are libraries for your everything. For example, for mailing, for spooling, for your mounting. The mounting is MNT, for library, for homes, for user home directories, for all device information, for all local information, local bin is there, for libraries, for including anything from the C library. So these are the basics, root system libraries and set of commands in each of the set. Now one thing I've discussed about the archiving and compression commands. I've already told and discussed this one in unit 2 that to archiving is to put all the set of files in a one folder. Archiving means to put a backup. What do you mean by archiving? Archiving states that you are putting a backup of few files, and after putting a backup of that files, you are compressing that one. So one is your archiving and one is your compressing. Archiving, that for that one we are using the tar. Tar stands for your T stands for tape and AR stands for archiving. So tar is nothing but a tape archives. You're putting everything in the tape drives, so that is why it's called as your archiving. And archiving is done through tar and zipping is through by your zip or vzip. So these are the G stands for your GNU project, because Linux is under the GNU general, not Unix process, general public license. That G stand for ZZip. So these are the various, there are two processes. For example, you collect all the documents, doc, HTML, your text files, your simple files, any kind of stuff, put it into one folder and put it in your doc.tar. So that is called your archiving. And after putting all the files into a one folder, you compress that file. For example, initial it file has a size 20.3 MB. Now it's been reduced to 4.8 MB after zipping. Fine. So they are the two processes, archiving and compression mostly occur together, and the format is this tar.zz and tar.bz. These are two processes for your. Similarly, other file management tools, same tar, fine, df for your disk space, od. These are the other networking commands and basic commands which are being your favors is gzip, gunzip, and we'll discuss in detail. So tar is nothing but a utility for creating and extracting archives. It is for setting up archives on the tape, but it is now mostly used for archiving on the disk. Initially, it was done on the tapes. Now it's been done on the disk. So it's very useful for sending a set of files to someone over the network. Tar is useful for making backups. Fine. And how can you write this tar command? Tar, options, and your file name. Similarly, zipping. These are the options we'll discuss. For example, for inserting, for creation. Fine. So there are C command. Similarly, for using the name of the tar file, if you want to use any name, then use the F command. Similarly, you want to creation or to extracting, we have to use the X command. And these are various options for your. Similarly, zipping is also a compressions. I let you know the few commands like this one. Zip and unzip. Zip is for creation and unzip to extraction. Tar is for nothing but to combine multiple files. gzip and gunzip is nothing but GNU free compression programs into a single file. And bzip and these are the slower versions of zipping. Optimized compression programs, they are also combined into a single file. Fine. So you can use this mode like tar. At the prompt you can write tar -x zf, your file name, and your tar.zz. So that is the file name. This is your file name. This X is for your fine. This X for your execution. This is for Z is nothing but a technique, and F is your file name. So this is your file name, and it will convert that file into this name. Compression, uncompression, zipping, unzipping, tar, and these are the various file management tools. Like this one, if you're using tar CVFZ options, this is your final file name, and there is a from the docs you want to save that file. So this is your source file, fine, and you want to move it toward this one. So this C for your creation, this Z and J is for your compression techniques. These are the various compression techniques, Z and J. F stands for your file and V stands for verbose. Verbose means how to display the content of your tar files or zip files. So that is the format for your displaying the content. C is for your creation. Similarly, extraction, you can use the X. Fine. F for the file. These are the techniques, and this is same. So you can compress a tar file by using this. Fine. And compression file name is this. Similarly, you can decompress it. Decompressed, you can use the tar. Again, you decompress it with this. So this one is your X for decompression and C for your creation or compression. So when you're using C and VX, they have a different meaning. Same here, to T option for creation, create an archive file. T, list and archive content. Either you use T or list. X for extraction the archive content. A for concatenation if you want to append any tar file to an archive. F is for the file, specify the archive file name and the location. Z is for zipping file archive through zip mode, and V is for displaying the content about copying the file and extracting the file from the archives. Same here. I told you that tar stands for your tape archive utility. Fine, and F is for by default mode is used for your hard drives. So it will go for your hard drives if you use hyphen H, and these are the device files st0, st1. Similarly, these are all your tape devices by default present. So by default the system folder is your devices, and st0, st1, st2, these are all your tape devices, hard drives, and your other tape devices in which you can put your zip files. Fine, you read it out. This one is the same tar. Then compression utilities discussed. This one, both are there. These are the free compression utilities, and these are the newer compression utilities. They are a little bit slower in doing that, and they have the more sophistication. So newer Linux compression, file compress, in the extension, and an uncompress with this. These are compressed, are smaller in size. Then they have the more better optimization and better compression techniques, but they are smaller, they are slower, and they are smaller in the size. Advantage of this one, whereas they took some time and moreover more capacity they will take. Other are also available, but these are the by default, these are present in the Linux for zipping facilities. Fine. So similarly, you can use the zip and unzip by these options. Zip replaces the file with the compressed version and add the extension ZZ suffix to its name. The C option will redirect the output to a standard output, so the original file is not overwritten. C means it cannot be overwritten. A new zip file will be made. And V option is nothing but a compression statistics. So CV and your file name, and this unzipping. So unzipping unpacks the files compressed with ZZip with compression. Options have the similar meaning as ZZips. So C is for putting the compression standard outputs to a new file rather than overwriting the older file. For example, if you want to do this command, if you write wc word count of this file, so what will be the output? This is, it will show the number of characters, number of words, number of lines. So these are number of characters, these are number of words, these are number of lines, so and so. So this is the output of sample copy.txt. Now you want to make a user command zzip on this file, and then you show the number of count, so it will reduce everything. Now number of lines, number of words, and number of characters has been reduced to, and the file has the extension .zz. So it has the extension ZZ. Fine. The compression ratio depends upon the type, size, and nature of the file. Similarly, you can unzip the file, and when you unzip the file, you will have this original statistics of the file. If you want to compress the directory content recursively, then you have to use the option R with zzip command, and unzip, it is used with the same option as with this. So you have to use -R. Fine. You have to use a -R with your, if you want to compress a directory recursively with this command. Same here. Extension, it will reduce the file. So these are your zipping and unzipping and tar. options. Fine. It's been asked in your papers. Then next one is about the VI editors. VI editors is nothing but it is also called as visual editors. We have done the online compilers. I have already told you in the class how to work in on the VI editors. So VI editors is to write your shell script. VI editors comes with every version of Linux and Unix. Using a VI similar is using with other editors. VI editor is the most popular editor in the Linux and current version is really Vim to invoke simply by a command called VI. Before VI, the primary editor used were the line editors. Users can able to see edit only one line of text at a time. VI editor is not the text formatter. You cannot set margins, center headings, or etc. It is generally basically to write your scripts. Fine, to set off commands and to save your file in a shell file, you have to use the VI or a visual editor. By default, it is this. There are many you can install and add on, but this is the by default visual editors, which is by default coming with your Linux. It has three modes. One is insert mode, one is your command mode, and one is your execute mode or escape mode, you can say. Fine. So one is your by default, the mode is your command mode, which enables you to perform administrative tasks such as saving files, executing, moving the cursor, cutting, pasting, finding, replacing, whatever you want to interpret it and follow or formatting. Similarly, insert mode is enable you to insert the text into the file. Everything you type in this mode is interpreted as input and finally it is put in the file. So anything you want to write, then you have to go to the insert mode. And by default, when you enter after VI mode, so the by default mode is your command mode. And then is your EX mode. The user is permitted to give the commands at the last line. For example, you want to come out of this quitting or escaping. So one mode is your EX mode or escape mode. File last line known as command line. It is also called as a command line mode. This prompt user to the file handling like saving, exiting the editor, or with or without saving the file. So this is actually the last line of your editor. You want to quit, you want to save, you want to move out of your visual editor, then this EX mode is there. So one is your insert mode and one is your command mode. Like for example, the through diagram, you are in the Unix shell. Fine. At the prompt, you write $VI editor. You want to open the VI editor and your file name. File name can be any with the extension .sh. You want to create a one script file, shell script file. You put the name here, for example, hello.sh. Fine. When you press enter, you can move into a VI editor. And VI editor is by default in your command mode. Fine. Here you can use the various keys. These are various strokes or various keystrokes. For example, append. You want to append, you have to press this. You want to insert anything, you want to go to the insert mode. You have to press IN. These are the various keys to put a text mode. Fine. Either capital I or small I for opening, small o for changing, for replacing. So these will put you to a text mode. Now your typewriter, your keyboard will act like a typewriter. You can write everything, what you want to write, any command, any echo statements, whatever you want to write. Then press escape and you come back to your command mode again. If you want to quit, you want to save it, then you have to press colon WQ. WQ means Q stands for quitting. If you want to quit only, then you have to press colon quit. If you want to go for the saving the file, write to a file to a disk and you're quitting the editor, then you have to press WQ. Saving option or writing, then you have to WQ. If you want to quit, only press Q. Discard the changes and quit the editor. So you again come back to your Unix shell. Fine. So Unix, your command, these are the various options for undo, for moving a cursor, for putting P, for replacing R, everything. So one is your command mode, one is your text mode. Move out of your text mode by pressing the escape key. You can again come to the command mode. But if you want to go to the last line, or you can say you want to quit the editor, then you are in the EX mode or your escape mode, and you have to press :WQ or :Q. Various options are there to discard and move out of your, and you want to come back to Unix shell again. Same here to start with the same. Now it is now in the form of text format. Use the VI type VI file name. Syntax is this. If any file exists with this file, then the file will display it. If the file does not exist, then an empty file will be created for you and you can enter the text. Fine. To exit VI, these are the options. Put :Q, you are exiting with saving option. If you are putting Q with the exclamation mark, that means with modification and closing the VI forcefully. And if you are using WQ, that means you are writing. So these are the various options: :Q, :Q, exclamation, and :WQ, that means saving and closing. So one is your saving, one is your quitting, and one is your saving forcefully move out of this. So these are the various options to move out of your VI editor. So one is your command mode, can be preceded. You can move to insertion mode. Fine. So these are the various options of opening your VI. For example, you want to edit the file name, then go this. If you want to fetch the last version of the file name, then option R. If you want to edit the file name at line number N, then option N. If you want to edit the file name at the end of the file, then option this. So these are the various options of VI, how to open your file. And these are the various options, whether you want to move out, WQ, WX, save and quit. Every shell has its own, but most of the common things which are using is this one. For VI editor is this, but every editor has its own three codes. Like for example, by keystrokes you have a different. So W for saving, X for save and exit, Q for exit if no changes made, and Q exclamation exit and discard any changes. So these are the various options to move out of your shell. Fine. Then the next topic, so this is over with your VI editor and various modes, how to work in your various modes and how to move out and how to move from one mode to another. The next one is your inode, is one of the important topic. So I've already told you what do you mean by inode. Inode is nothing but the index node. It is a control structure that contains key information needed by the operating system if to access a particular file. So every file has a one inode that maintains the information. That is actually a pointer, you can say, a pointer to a file. Several file names may be associated with a single inode. A single inode may contain a pointer to many files. Each file is controlled by exactly one inode. So each file has explicitly has a one inode, but one inode has multiple file maintenance. So on the disk, there is an inode table that contains inodes for all the files in the file system. When a file is opened, it is the inode brought into the main memory and stored in the memory residence inode table. Like this. This is your directory entry. This is a one entry. This is the name of your directory and the pointer to that directory. So that directory has a one inode. Then inode can be a pointer. It has a one pointer. It is a data structure that consists of, it's actually a data structure, or you can say a file that maintains all the information about that directory, like user ID, GID, the size of the directory, when the last it was accessed. So all information about that one, and it will maintain through a pointer called the inode. Then it has a block 1, block 2, blocks, indirect blocks, so and so. Like for example, block 1, it has a direct block file 1, block 2 file, another file content. Indirect means it is other block addresses, and indirect pointers are theirs which contain the file content. So these are the indirect blocks, these are the direct blocks. So this is the relationship between your directory entry and an inode and a blocks of an allocated file. Like this one, directory is there. So directory, home and a user, your respective inodes. As I know file name, these are your file names, and these are file number 1 and number 123, 119. Now this is the pointer to inode 123, and inode 123 has this set of information. It can be more than this. Is just an example that it will contain the file type, permissions, UID, file size, data blocks, and the content of the file in the data block. And data blocks are pointing towards your data, and these are your blocks of your disk. Fine. So this is your file. This is your directory entry. It will consist of files. Directory entry has the name of the file and the inode number. Inode number is a pointer to this number, and it has a various information about your file, and it has the data blocks, and data blocks are further pointing towards your data blocks, or where actually your data resides. So disk layout is nothing but a boot block. Your block number 1 has a boot block. Everything consists of your booting information or initialization. Second is your super block that consists of all your file system. Then third block is your file descriptors that consist of all the inodes. And last one is your data block. So one is your booting, one is your super block consists of your file system, file descriptors about all the file system, your user, your bin, your root, everything about the files, the system defined file system. Then the file descriptors, all the inode information in the third block, and the fourth block has your data blocks. It can be multiple. So file descriptors are nothing. It describes the file. File data blocks is nothing but the data for the file's largest portion on the disk. And super block will consist of everything about the files. So this will consist of about your file system, location, metadata, permissions, kernels, pointers about your file system. Same block 0, block 1. This is your booting. This is your super block. This is your inode list, and this is your data block. So the same diagram in another version. So one partition needs to contain, super blocks contain the metadata about your file system. Inode list has a fixed size which limits the maximum number of files. It has every block has its own capacity and bytes. For example, partitions is there, and this is the memory capacity of each. Fine. So this is a sample study of your inodes. It has an owner name, it has a group name, type of the file, permissions, what can the permissions given to that file or directory, when it is accessed last, when it is modified last, inode related information, when it's created, the size, the disk address. So these are the few information, writing the content of an inode to the disk and writing the content of the file. So this is actually the content of the inode. This is all the content of the inode, and the data blocks and the content of your file is different. So data is different and inode information is different. So each Linux file and directory is represented by an inode, and this is your file inode. It has a set of information. Similarly, for the pointers, I have discussed this one: file pointers, block pointers, indirect block pointers, direct pointers, and further. So each file and directory has its inode. Its inode stores the information about the file and directory, and pointers point to the disk blocks. So inode is important in terms of your examination. Now, where and how the inodes are stored, discussed already. That this is your system drive, and this is your boot block, super block, inode array, and your data blocks. Same here, example, you are making one file. For example, you have created one file with a touch. This is your file, this is the ordinary file. fine, and this is the location of your file on the disk. Now actually we are talking about in this one is a links, how to link, that is your hard link versus your soft link. Fine. So once you created a file, that is the location of a file on the disk. Now what do you mean by the hard link in this file? Now to create a hard link, you have to create option ln. So hard link is nothing but your ln is a command for creating a hard link. If you want to create a soft link, then the command is ln-s. So this S is for your symbolic link or a soft link, and one is your hard link. You use the command ln. ln, fine, this is your name. Fine, this is your name of the file, and this is the name of your hard link. So this is the name of your hard link. This is the name of your file, and this is the command. Similarly, symbolic link can be created by ln-s. This is the name of your file, and this is your symbolic link. And both these are, this is the name of the file. They are pointing towards the same location of the file. Similarly, your hard link also point towards the same location of the file. This is the difference between a hard link and a soft link. They are both pointing, they both are pointing to the same inode. This is the inode. This is the file pointing towards this inode, and this is the hard link. This is also pointing towards the same inode of that file. So, but symbolic link will point to a file. Now this is your soft link. It is pointing towards the file, and file is pointing towards the inode. Fine. So symbolic link is a soft link that points towards the file. It will point towards the file, and file will point towards your inode. Like for example, this file, this is your original file. Fine. This is your hard link. Fine. Now file is also pointing towards the inode 100, and hard links are also pointing towards the fine. So they both are pointing. If the original file is deleted, the hard link will still contain the data that the original. If you delete this file, then still the hard link will be there to fetch that file information because it's pointing towards that inode. So that is the difference between a hard link versus your soft link. Similarly, in the case of your soft link, now soft link is nothing. Your soft link will point towards your file, fine, original file. If you delete the original file, soft link will become the useless. Then there is no, because soft links are actually pointing towards your file, not the inodes. So these are they also have the inodes, but they are not pointing towards that original inode that the file contains. So they also have the inode, but they are the indirect inodes. But originally inode is this. So they are not pointing towards the inode. They are pointing towards the file. And if we delete the original file, soft link becomes the useless. Now soft link and hard link. Soft links are the pointers. They are the pointers to the programs. They are pointers to a file and directories located elsewhere. They are just the window shortcuts. If the original program, file, or directory is renamed, moved, or deleted, soft link is broken. Fine. If you type ls-f, you can see the files who are soft links before, because they are end with this. If you want to check the soft link, you have to use the option ls-f. So it will show you all the soft links. Fine. Now all soft link, because they are ending with the @. To create a soft link, I told you the command is ln-s. This is my file and this is my soft link. So it will create a soft link towards my file. Same here, inode is a data structure that consists of, so this is your file and this is the file that pointing towards the inode that contains the all information about the file. Fine. Definitely your hard link will also pointing towards your original inode number that is being allocated to your file, but soft link is pointing towards your file, not your inode. So if your file is deleted, your soft link will useless. It will not be now in any of the use. But if If your file is deleted, your hard link will still be there to fetch the information about the file, because it is the main information resides in your inode. So you can fetch everything about my file from the inode. If my file is deleted, then again you can through hard link can fetch the information, but via soft link you cannot fetch it. So this is the difference. You can read it out. Hard links having the same inode number, soft link having the different inode numbers. ls command, if you use the command ls-l, it will show all the links. It will show you all inode numbers and links. Links have the actual file content, where when you use this command, all links with the second column value 1, it will show you this list option will show you both hard links as well as your soft links. Removing any link, just reduce the link count, doesn't affect the other links. So counting is there, count number is maintained. So if you reduce any link, the count will be reduced. Otherwise, because same inode number can be used for multiple files. For example, if 100 is the inode used by multiple files, and if you want to delete your file, then the count becomes 99. You cannot create a hard link for a directory. For directory, hard link cannot be created, but for files, we can create a hard link. Even if the original file is removed, still the link is there to fetch the content of the file. Whereas soft link contains the path for the original file, they will contain the path of the original file, but not the content. Removing the soft link doesn't affect the anything, but when the original the link becomes useless, and there is no use of using the soft link. A soft link can link to the directory, but you cannot make a hard link to a directory. These are the symbolic representation. This is your original file. This is your hard link, and your inode resides on the data on your hard disk. This is your data on the hard disk, and they are the pointers that divided to a pointer to a data on the hard drive. Similarly, this is the soft link that pointing towards your file, and original file is pointing towards the data on your hard drive. Fine. Same it is. You want to create it by ln. This is your file name, and this will create a. This is your original file. This is your hard link. They both are pointing towards same inode number, and inode number is pointing towards the data. Fine. Similarly, these are also there. Soft links, original files. This is your block diagrams, and this is a good representation of data. And these are your inode pointing towards another inodes. So soft link have the multiple inodes. Like this is your soft link. It is pointing towards the original file. Original point is pointing towards the main inode number, and inode number is pointing towards the data on the drive. Whereas this is give you a soft link also has its own inode number. Same. Fine. So soft link must have the same information. So you can say to the user, this is your original file. You can able to see the soft link which you have created because they are pointing towards the file. Internally, the soft link is directly connected to an inode. Fine. Any inode, it can be a different number. Internally, it is pointing towards an original file, and this original file pointing towards the data on the drive. So this is your original file, original inode number. Fine. This is your soft link outside the layer, and internally this link is also indirectly connected to your original inode number, and original inode number consists the data on your hard drive. So soft link is nothing but a shortcut to a file. It is a backup of the file. If the original file is deleted, link is also broken and data is lost. If the original file is deleted, then the link will contain the data. Hard links can be made only on the files, whereas soft link can be on files and directories. Inode number of source and link is different. Your source and linking is different. Here the inode of both the files is same. So in hard link, inode number is same. And here a soft link has any number of inodes. It is not pointing towards the direct inode number. Fine. So linking, hard link and soft link, these are the commands. Fine. So these are the directory, and hard link is nothing. You can say a directory entry containing the same inode number of the file. When you make a one hard link, that means you are making one entry. You are making one entry to a directory that this is my hard link, and hard link is pointing towards a one inode, and that's it's the same inode the file is pointing. All the file have at least one hard link. When removed, link is also removed. Whereas symbolic link is also a directory entry containing the path name to the file. It will contain the path name to a file or a pointer. Unlike the hard links, inode numbers can be different. Here in the symbolic link, inode numbers can be different, but possesses other useful features. But they contain the linking to the file, path of the file, but they are not pointing towards the original inode number of the file. They have the different inode number. Fine. So this is a linking, soft link. Fine. Difference between hard link and a soft link. Read out these are shareable fly slides. You can read it out. Fine. This is your hard link and soft link is important. Inode details. Inode is important. Then your VI editors and modes are also, these are all set of questions being asked in your end term examination. So on daily basis, I will discuss those topics which are important and which being asked in your end term examination. Zipping command, star zip already been asked, compression techniques, archiving, so these being discussed. So these are your slides and the basic commands and the shell commands.